Neonic Void Productions presents.
Hello and welcome back to Spookocalypse. I am one of your hosts, Zio, and today I'm joined with the one, the only, the magnificent, the amazing, the ASMR voicing that we keep telling he should do.
You can stop.
Bunya.
You keep
You
saying
can
I should
stop.
do it, and then I'm like, I don't hear a business plan.
Oh, you want a business pitch? I'll do it. I'll fucking do it.
I would need like material and a paycheck. Just like I need proof that you're serious about this. Then I'd be like, oh, I might can make a living off that. Okay.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If we can make a living off of doing podcasts, Bunya will do an ASMR podcast. Or Neonic Void Productions.
You'll be sitting there in your office like counting your money, and then I'm like the only one that's doing any work for you.
Well, no, you would definitely get a cut because who would be editing it? Me. God, I had to sit there going, "Oh God, here we go. Gotta do it." That's gonna be the catch now. Is if we can make this into a living, where me and my co-hosts and the D&D players can do this for a living, I will convince Bunya to do an ASMR podcast.
I mean, that'd be swell. Like I go to an office, and it's like an all-day thing, and you get to see people's faces. Like, hi, how are you doing? How's your kids?
How's the wife?
You pay more attention to your car than your kid? That's nice.
Oh shit. I would love to make a living out of doing podcasts, but that's my goal. That's my long-term goal for all of us to where we can function and have this be our job. Have Neonic Void Productions be our job.
Not because it's easy, it's just because we understand it better than other kinds of jobs.
Yeah, no, because it's fun. I mean, you're in this game for the long haul. Kaiju Groupie, aka Jacob, is all in for book watchers, and then of course the D&D pod with everybody else. I'm determined to make this stuff work. I mean, we just got our first sponsorship not that long ago, so it's like let's keep the ball rolling. And listenership and downloads have gone up for this past month. They have gone up significantly, y'all. Especially for this show. When I checked, last I checked, from July 13th to August 13th, that is today. Well, today is of this recording. We have 69 episode downloads for Spookocalypse. I was like, oh my God. That's kind of funny.
For that 30-day period or just total?
For that 30-day period.
Oh my goodness.
In total, Spook has gotten, God, we're going into numbers, y'all. In total, Spookocalypse has gotten, since we moved over to our new thing, 950 downloads in total. But as of this past month, it's been 69. The majority of that has been the last 2 or 3 weeks, because we've been averaging like for the past 2 weeks or so, you've been averaging at least 6 downloads per day. At least. That's within the last, since like August 2nd. So our numbers are going up, y'all. I had never actually looked up where, so I should probably look up where. Of course, the United States. Hello, America. Well, hello, California, where like 48 downloads from California. Hey, California. Fremont, 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 California. Then Floresville, Texas. Anyway, hi, welcome to Spook. Today we are continuing on our adventure through games. Before we get into today's game, if you look in the description below, you will see a link to our link tree. That'll take you to all the things Neonic Void Productions. You want to go listen to some of the other podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or even YouTube. All the links to those will be in the description below. Yeah, follow us on Twitter at Spookocalypse. That's SPOOKOCALYPSE, baby. And today's flavored mint is. Yep.
I'm trying to think. Just give me a sec.
Mm-hmm.
Considering where this takes place, it's not the right country, but let's say Swedish Fish.
Swedish Fish? Okay. Gotcha. So, ladies and gentlemen and others, today we are going to be doing an episode on Among the Sleep. Among the Sleep is a video game that was released, back on Windows, OS, and Linux, May 29th, 2014, on the PS4, December 10th, 2015, Xbox One, June 3rd, 2016, and then they released an enhanced version for Windows, Linux, and OS in November 2nd of 2017, and of course the Switch, PS4, and Xbox One, May 29th, 2019. That's a lot of releases.
Yep, and they had DLC that launched about 2 months after their initial release.
Yep, and the enhanced version, I'm assuming, comes with the DLC.
It does, and if you've already got the game, it just adds it automatically.
Yeah. So this game was done by Krillbyte Studio.
Yep, they developed and published it, and it was designed by Anders Uggland. It was made on the Unity engine, and it is a survival horror action adventure game.
Yes. So, on to the plot. Bunya, what's Among the Sleep about?
So picture.
Okay.
So picture this. It's a horror game in a house, and you're a toddler.
You know, that's actually low key. When I first heard about this game, I was like, that's kind of low key a very good idea, a good, interesting idea, because when you're a child, everything is kind of scary.
True, it is magnified in the mind of a child. And this game is usually compared to another game called Baby Blues, but that one, this one is more polished. There's more of a story to it, and Baby Blues is more of like a Slender-esque kind of game where you're looking around the house and finding items.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they're both worth looking into. But today we're talking about Among the Sleep. So you start off, and it has this weird perspective shot that's almost like out of a Rugrats episode, where whenever it opens up, there's an extreme close-up of some object, and you don't know what it is until it zooms out. You're like, oh, I see what it is. And this one, you're drinking from a glass of some kind, just like a small glass, and then you drop it because your motor skills aren't quite developed enough yet. And then your mom is giving you birthday cake because it's your second birthday. You're 2 years old. And she's giving you a spoonful of cake, and before she can give you a little bit more, there's a loud knock at the door. And that's when the nice warm melody just stops, like it goes completely silent. She's like, I'll be right back.
Drama.
And then you see this shaky, distorted footage, or filter, I mean, of the environment. And this is like your first indicator that, oh, this means danger is present, or at least something uncomfortable is around. And you can hear the mom arguing with someone at the door until you hear her just say no, slams the door, and then comes back with a box. Look what I brought you.
God, that's
And
uncomfy.
yeah, it's not clear, but you can probably pick up what's happening. But point is, she picks you up and starts carrying upstairs with the president. It's like, let's go upstairs to open your gift. And then it shows the intro credits. And then you see some dark particle effects following after you for
Mhm.
dramatic effect. And so when you make it to your room, she's like, okay, let's open your gift. And before she can open it, the phone rings. And then she's like, I got to go answer that. You just stay here. And then I think when you look away, the box is gone. And she didn't take it with her. It's just the box is somewhere else. And you have to go and find it.
Mhm.
And then you open up, and there's a teddy bear inside. And it talks to you.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
the teddy bear.
It pretty much shows you how to play the game, like how do you move around, how do you interact with objects, and if you want to play hide and seek, you just cover your eyes by pausing, and you just cover your face, and when you unpause, it's like, okay, I hid I hid a toy that you had, go find it, and you find this pink elephant in a corner. It's like, oh, you found it, and then teach you how to interact with objects by turning on the train set by pushing a button, and it looks like this nice kid's room. Like, wow, this kid has a really good life, right?
Right.
And then Teddy asks you Teddy asks you to go into the closet, just somewhere where it's really dark,
I'm like, Teddy, I'm not going back in the closet. I was there for 20 some years of my life. Why did I go back in there? That's rude.
because there's stuff you can find in there, but only if you close the doors all the way.
That's rude.
But yeah, Teddy wants you to go inside, and then you have to close the door, and you're like, Okay." And then he's like, "If you hug me real tight, you might feel a little bit safer." And he serves as a light source. So if you hug Teddy, he shines.
Mhm.
And then you can see through the back of the closet, which has a bunch of big coats and black streaks on the floor. And it goes deeper than a closet is supposed to. You don't go into Narnia. You don't have tea with anybody. You just go deeper into the closet until you somehow emerge back out the way you came, even though you didn't loop around. You just show up, and then your mom finds you. She's like, "There you are. You've got to stop hiding from me." Mm.
Mm-mm.
And let's see. Oh yeah, I think at that time it's bedtime, at least for a toddler. So she just tucks you in, and then you go to sleep, and then nightfall comes, and your teddy bear just starts floating, almost like someone's picking it up, but you don't see anybody.
Mm.
So then you wake up and you tilt your crib over, and it's time to go find Teddy.
Oh no.
Yeah, what happened? But you end up leaving your room, and you find the washing room,
Bum, bum,
and
bum.
you can hear the washing machine is going on, and it sounds like drowning and screaming. And so you go to the outlet and you unplug it, and it opens up, and then Teddy falls out.
Mhm.
And so you pick him up, and he's damp, and it still wants you to be like, hold him tight so you can just shine a light. It's like, but he's damp and all wet. Can I dry him off first? Like, no, you need the light source. You better hug your bear tight.
Mm-mm. No.
That is funny. But as you're observing around this house, because you're so small, everything has a much larger scale compared to what you'd normally see if you're playing a more adult character. So
Yeah.
everything feels taller than you. And if you want to reach doorknobs, you have to move chairs so that you can climb on top of them and then like reach the doorknob and pull it and so that the door will open and then push the door open. You can also find random drawings on the ground that the toddler has presumably drawn. and they
Mhm.
give some hints about what the story is, and you can just collect those.
Yeah.
And then Teddy hints that there's some kind of creature in the house, and he warns you to be very quiet because we can't let it find you. So you make your way to the kitchen, and
Drama.
yeah, and you see a shadowy figure just lumbers through the next room, and you're like, "Oh, that thing."
That's a no for me, dog. I watched some of the a playthrough of this, and I'm like, oh no no no, trauma.
hmm So, in some of the drawings, you notice that the kid isn't always happy, and a common thing that kids going through a hard time will draw is usually like very expressive faces. Like, here's the lines, like, here's a big frowny face, like, this person is sad, and then they'll put like eyebrows for someone who's very angry, and and then this one has like drawings of glass bottles, so it's kind of hinting at alcoholism,
Yeah,
but we'll get into that a little bit more. And I think based on what you're looking at, especially there's like a mug that has a picture of the Norwegian flag on it. So that tells you that this takes place in Norway.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, what's a good snack for Norway? And I couldn't think of one, so I was like, I guess today's flavor is Swedish fish because they're close
Swedish fish.
together. Unless
Yeah,
unless Swedish fish is just an American thing and it's not sold anywhere else,
that's a good question.
that would be embarrassing.
But it would.
They'd be like going to China and then looking for Chinese cookies, fortune cookies, and they're like, "What are you talking about? We don't sell those.
Uh,
It's strictly an American thing." But yes, you go and you're tasked with finding your mom. And you go to her bedroom and you climb onto her bed and you pull back the sheets and you see that she's not in there.
mhm.
And your first instinct is like crawl in the bed because this game cranks up the ambience a lot.
Yeah,
Like there's definitely moments where you'll be jumping at the slightest sound of anything and going to hide. And the best way to hide is just to crawl. Like you move so much faster when you're crawling as opposed to walking.
yeah.
Plus, most stuff you have to hide under requires you to crawl.
God,
And you could sprint, which is technically the fastest thing, but you can also fall over.
you're literally a child.
Yep, you have limitations, but it makes it all the more terrifying.
Most definitely.
You do find yourself down. Yeah, I think you are downstairs when this happens. Like, I think either you go to the bedroom first, like your mom's bedroom, or the kitchen. Because I'm like, it wouldn't make sense for your mom's bedroom to be on the first floor, wouldn't it? Like, because if you're a parent, you want to be on the same floor as your kid in case there's an
Yeah,
emergency.
of course.
But either way, you end up on the first floor at some point. You're like, okay, I've already checked the bedroom, not here. Kitchen, not here. Can I go back up? And it's like, nope, the gate shuts on you. There's a little gate specifically to keep the baby out, and it just shuts on you. But you do get to crawl under the stairs, and you see a memory of your mom. And this is where you get the first memory, which is a necklace. It's a physical object that you pick up. And as you step through this mirror looking veil, you end up in what I guess would be called like the Void Playhouse because it exists in the middle of nowhere.
That's not creepy or suspicious.
But it's a place all to yourself. No one can bother you here.
I guess, but that's still suspicious and weird.
But you make it to this playhouse, and then Teddy shows you around. Well, not like he knows the place, he's just like curious about it. And then you put your first memory inside this metal contraption, and it just sends it down through these pipes into this glass chamber. And you have to open up this door, and it requires in the old version of the game you had to like have Teddy push a button into like the bottom of this door. The enhanced version changed it to where you both had to push two buttons at the same time.
Yeah.
So you just time the button press, and it's not too hard. You just do that, and then you get to go onto your first level, and you end up in a playground. and you immediately see a second memory, but you can't reach it because it's on this big towering structure, and you can't reach it because the only way up there is through the seesaw, but you need a counterweight to keep one part of the seesaw down while you crawl up. But you do find owl statuettes, and you can collect 6 of those and place them on the seesaw, and then you'll be able to walk up there. When you find the first 3, oh shit, is all I can say.
Oh shit.
Like, you go into the shed where the third one is, and
Yeah.
you get it, and the shed door locks behind you, and then you hear like footsteps, and it sounds like someone's going to open the door, and like, oh no.
Uh-oh.
But the door opens and there's nobody there. But the playground doesn't look so warm and inviting anymore. Like, he had these
Oh.
warm red and yellow lights, and then it just becomes completely bleak and cold, and it doesn't sound nearly as friendly. Like, the ambience is either dead quiet or just eerie.
Yeah.
But you do explore parts of the other parts of the playground, such as the slide. You can climb up there and go down the slide, and nothing happens. But you can also check this little cellar door area where you go underground and find more owl statuettes and some merry-go-round looking thing. Basically, what you'd find at a typical children's park.
Mhm.
You find all these statuettes, and you go to the seesaw, and you place those statuettes on the seesaw, and then you just make your way up. And then you find your second memory. And I think this one's also an owl, like an owl statue thing. I don't remember if that's exactly what it was, but point is, it's supposed to be a memory of like you at the playground.
Yeah.
But then you find your way through this big old copper pipe back to the void playground, or void playhouse, I mean. And then you repeat the process of like, here's my second memory, let's open up the door again and enter. I'm not even sure how to describe it. It's like a swamp mixed with a house and a library. Oh, it wasn't a statue. It was a music box. Yeah, that's what it was. But point is, you make it to this new area, and the first thing you notice is that there's paintings, and there's like a big painting in the middle that you can put together with puzzle pieces. And you find a puzzle piece nearby, you put that in, and it opens up this left area. Like, okay, well, we're going to go there. And it leads to a swampy looking forest with a well. And you see, as you approach this painting, a woman drinks from the well, and then she becomes a demon and then walks away.
Ooh.
In
Pretty
case
brutal.
it wasn't obvious, and they give you more and more hints, somebody is a heavy drinker, and it's scaring your child.
Uh-huh.
It's scaring you, the child, I mean.
Sure is. This is sad.
It really does get sad. Navigating around, you find yourself in a red lit room with a chandelier and a fireplace. And then water just pours on top of the fireplace and puts the fire out. And it's like, oh, it was warm, and then now it's all cold again. This happens a few times throughout the game where something looks warm and then it just becomes cold. When you make your way through that place, you find that second puzzle piece and you put it in the main hall, and then you hear you see the right hallway open, and you can go through there, and then you can hear distant arguing between 2 people.
Yeah.
And you'll find this well. You go to the well and you crank the bucket up, and it's like, here's another puzzle piece and a triangular key. You use the key on the gate, and you'll start seeing more of this demon with spiky hair and like a long white. It's like a simple dress, or maybe it's not a dress. I'm not sure what it is. Like an apron?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be
Maybe it's like a gown. I think it's a nightgown.
something.
But it's like a simple nightgown, just um. But while you're in this area, this main threat, which is the only thing that's been able to kill you so far, other than falling off into an abyss, shows up, and you have to actually start sneaking around more.
Yeah.
You find yourself a square key and use that to open another gate. And then I swear, every time she just shows up right behind you, and you have to run.
Mm.
But you make your way back to the main hall, give that next puzzle piece, and then the center hall opens up, and then you're in a big library with all these bookshelves. And then this demon lady is just patrolling the library. And all you can really do is just hide under the bookshelves and wait till she passes. And every time she gets close, you get two main tells. Number one, you, the player, start breathing heavily. And it's the same sound that toddlers will do when they're excited or scared. So presumably you're experiencing one of these emotions, and then the screen gets all distorted and blurry whenever the threat gets closer. And then there's like screeching, and you just have to wait until the demon passes, or else she'll pick you up and scare you.
This poor child.
But once you make it through the library, you get through, open some vent, crawl through, and you've got the next memory. I don't remember what this memory was exactly. Because the first was the necklace, and the second was a music box. I don't think I jotted this one down. But point is, you go into the next area, and it's basically a place that messes with your perception a bit. Like there's things that are on the walls and ceiling that normally wouldn't be there. There's like a big drawer inside. There's like a drawer inside of a nightstand, and it's absurdly long. When you open the vent that's closing it, it just shoots out, and it's reaching near infinity.
Yeah.
And you do find a door with a moon symbol on it, and then you have to find a moon in a bottle, and you have to throw a tennis ball to make it fall off of this shelf, and it breaks open the bottle, and you use that as the key. I'm like, okay, that's neat. You do the same thing with another door that has a star symbol, but you also end up in this hallway, which I don't know whose bright idea it was to have all these boxes precariously balancing bottles, but you knock any of them over, you summon this big raincoat looking thing, or a trench coat looking creature that's just a coat and white eyes, and it just floats after you.
Uh-uh. It's a no for me.
But once you've made it past all of this, you find the last memory, you grab it, and then you're about to go through the copper pipe again when the floating coat grabs you and Teddy. And then you're holding on for dear life, but you end up accidentally ripping Teddy's arm off, and he's just lost forever.
Not Teddy.
No.
No.
So then you're just in this dark place with spotlights and bits of cotton stuffing raining from the sky. And you're moving from spotlight to spotlight. And just in case it still has been made clear, you see that your mom and that demon lady are the same person. You hear your mom getting angry and angrier. And it's like, oh, by the way, your mom is abusing alcohol and is in turn taking it out on you sometimes, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
You return to the playhouse, you place the last memory in, and you place Teddy's arm on the switch. Like, you don't have him around anymore, so you have to place his arm there and then press your own switch. And when you leave through the doors to the exit, you are back in the closet that you were in earlier in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like you went through an entire ordeal and you had to hide in the closet to stay safe. But it's early in the morning, and your mom is in the kitchen surrounded by bottles. And then when you try to get Teddy, she shoves you away, but then she apologizes. And then there's a knock on the door, and it's your dad. And earlier he gave you the teddy bear.
Yeah. Dun dun dun.
And that's pretty much the main game, although the DLC has a prologue, which I can briefly go over that because it's kind of quick, but it helps explain some things a little more. But the prologue takes place before your family moves into the house that the game takes place in. So it's at an old house, and this is pretty much when the mom and dad are fighting over their relationship. Like it's not doing so well. Like there's money problems, and the dad seems like he's an okay dad, and then the mom is not able to handle things very well. And I think it's supposed to imply that he won custody, but she just took the kid.
So
But as for gameplay in that section, you're basically you're just freeing these dolls that are trapped behind icicles. And you do that by closing windows and then interacting with things that are like, oh, it's a television show with an animated monkey on it. This is warm and inviting. And it's like the entire game is about like you as a toddler trying to find all the warm and happy memories to blot out the terrible stuff that's happening now. Like you're trying to see your mom in a positive light, but it's just not enough.
yeah, that's called trauma. You know, the creators didn't have to go this hard, but they did. So this game's very what they call it. How would you put it? A lot.
Real? A lot in real.
A lot and real. Like a little too real. Like god damn. Y'all crazy out there over there in Norway. I'm assuming the studio's in Norway.
I think it is Norway. I know the game takes place in Norway.
We're to assume that it's Norwegian. To assume. But no, this game was pretty good. Like it really tackles the through the eyes of a child and how everything is like bigger and scarier and how situations like that, how a child could possibly perceive the stuff that's going on. It's a lot. And it kind of puts stuff in perspective, especially if you have had things that have happened in your childhood. It really kind of puts it in perspective. That's how a child's mind process things, good
And,
and bad.
and initially, when I played it, I thought the whole Finding Teddy thing was a dream. Like this was a dream he was having, but it's like no, it's more like this is what he thought he saw. Like when Teddy is being taken from the crib, he doesn't recognize that it's his mom's taking him. He just thought Teddy was just floating away. Plus, he's half asleep, so maybe he's not
Yeah.
seeing that it's his mom.
His mind is processing things.
Meanwhile, the mom was probably like, the bear's dirty. I gotta wash him." But to the kid, it's like,
Exactly.
"You're drowning, my friend."
Yeah. Yeah. It's the game really hits. Like, they did a fantastic job with illustrating that concept. Seeing things through a child's eyes and how mind works and processes things even if it doesn't understand necessarily what's happening. It's it's interesting how they went about it. Props to the creators. I mean, that's pretty much this. I mean, that's a symbolism right there. Pretty much, it's just through the eyes of a child, how you kind of get the picture of what's happening towards the second half. You kind of get the picture. Is there any other forms of symbolism, Bunyip, that I missed?
Um, I'm not really sure. Other like as we pretty much covered what it was, just like alcoholism
Yeah.
and trying to bring back warm memories of a person that you built up in your head as like being good, even though you've seen in reality that they're not as good as you wish they would be.
Yep. Future Devon, when you're listening to this, editing this, please put a trigger warning in front of the episode. Thank you. You can edit that part out, Devon.
So, rating system of Teddy Arms.
Oh, not that Teddy Arms. Yeah, no, we'll do the Teddy Arm. I will give it a good 4 out of 5 Teddy. Like this game was pretty good. They had a goal, set goal, and they got it. They nailed it. It's solid game.
I would also give it a 4, and the main reasons would be um, they do a great job of conveying the theme. Although sometimes it's a little repetitive when it's like, oh, by the way, the mom drinks a lot. Hey, did you know she drinks a lot? Oh, she's also taking down her kid. Oh, did I mention that she drinks a lot? I'm like, I get it. She drinks a lot, and it's a problem. But it does
Yeah.
really good ambience for horror. Like it doesn't rely a lot on jump scaring you. It's just like here's a threat, and here's how we're conveying a sense of unease and horror.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these sounds that happen are like they sound creepy and evil, even though it's like, oh, that's just like the radiator going on in the house. But the child doesn't know that, so it sounds alien to them. And it's also a rare example of like portraying a mother figure as abusive and a father figure as supportive. Because usually it's the other way around, or the dad is some kind of deadbeat and the mom is always some kind of saint, like a perfect, caring mom. And it's like, that's not always the case. And I do wish the game was a little longer. Like, I think they could have
That's
explored
fair.
a little bit more. Like, not with just the prologue, but just like what else the child could experience during this time. And like, what else could the child do to cope with their situation because they can't change anything at their current age. But like, what could they do um, as they are now? But other than that, it is a pretty good game, and I recommend it.
Same. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. A 4 out of 5. So go check it out on literally any system, pretty much. PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PC, Mac, Linux. If you have one, like, go play it. Great. Next week we're going to continue on the games as we're going to be talking about another horror. I mean, all the games are going to be horror centric, but this one is a rather interesting one called Slay the Princess. Catch us next time to talk about that. Until then, bye.
Goodbye.